Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, Carrying Conversations. There's something quietly frustrating about being the one who always holds conversations together. In our everyday lives, online, through social media, over texts, and even in face-to-face interactions, we've all experienced that moment when it feels like we're the only ones showing up with real presence. For me, that space is social media. But I know others go through the same thing in real life. No matter the platform, the effect is the same. We notice we're doing the emotional heavy lifting, often without realizing it until the silence stretches too long. That silence can be deafening. You're mid-message, full of thoughts, trying to stir something interesting or meaningful, and on the other end, there's not much. Maybe a one-word reply, maybe a dry emoji, maybe no response at all. And you start thinking, if I stopped talking, would this conversation even continue? More often than not, the answer is no. If you didn't reach out, if you didn't ask questions, if you didn't fuel the spark, the whole thing would flicker out. That awareness stings. It's disheartening to realize that the rhythm, the flow, the laughter, and even the momentum was all you. But I try to remind myself, not everyone is trying to kill a conversation. It's easy to fall into that mindset of taking things personally, assuming someone's disinterest means they don't care. But people are complicated. Just because someone isn't responding in the way you expect doesn't mean they're cold or dismissive. Some folks are anxious. Others are overthinkers. Some are slow to express themselves. Or maybe they're just not used to being in a dialogue that asks something deeper of them. And in a world overflowing with distractions, it's also possible they're overwhelmed, trying to split their attention across a dozen other tasks while holding a conversation with you. Still, understanding that doesn't always soften the blow. Emotional labor is real. Being the talker can become draining, even when you care deeply about the person on the other side. Because over time, you start to wonder if your energy is being appreciated or just absorbed without return. And here's the truth. Conversation is a two-way street. Or at least it should be. Healthy, fulfilling conversations are built on mutual engagement. Both people invest. Both people reciprocate. When that balance is off-kilter, when you're giving 80% and they're only putting in 20%, you feel it. It weighs on you slowly. That's why communication matters. You don't have to jump to conclusions or cut someone off the minute things feel unbalanced. Sometimes it's worth checking in and saying, "Hey, I feel like I've been doing a lot of the talking. Are you okay?" That simple question could reveal something deeper. Nervousness, self-doubt, distraction, or even admiration. You might be surprised by what they're holding back. Still, there's a limit. A conversation can't live on one heartbeat alone. You can offer patience, kindness, and time, but when weeks go by and nothing changes, you're allowed to let go. It's not selfish. It's not dramatic. It's self-preservation. There's no one-size-fits-all timeline for when to move on. Everyone has a different threshold. Personally, I'm patient. I'll give it a week, maybe even 2. I'll try different approaches, lighthearted topics, deeper questions, even silence, to see if they'll meet me halfway. But if the conversation stays flat, I trust that it's okay to step back. I've had connections go months where it felt like I was sending paragraphs and they were sending postage stamps. And sure, some of those exchanges had value, but eventually it all felt one-sided, like I was trying to jump-start a car that wasn't out of gas, just uninterested in the drive. That's when the doubt creeps in. Not just about them, but about yourself. You wonder if you're too much, too intense, too eager. But the problem isn't that you're too much. It's that they're not meeting you where you are, and that's not a reflection of your worth. What makes it even more complicated is when you're naturally someone who brings energy into a room or a chat. I've walked into dead group chats and watched them light up within minutes. It's almost uncanny. Suddenly, people who hadn't spoken in days are responding, engaging, joining in. I don't say that to brag. I say that because it's a real experience I've had, over and over. It can feel powerful, even validating. Like you're a spark plug, capable of transforming the mood just by showing up. But there's a burden in that too. Being the life of the party can come with unspoken pressure. Pressure to always be on, to keep people entertained, to keep things moving. And eventually, you ask, who shows up for me? Who checks in when I'm quiet? Who carries the conversation when I'm tired? In the best connections, it's balanced. Not perfectly, not always, but mutually. You show up for each other in different ways. One day you're tired and they take the lead. The next, you carry the spark. There's no scoreboard, just care. But many of us have been conditioned to settle for imbalance. We tell ourselves, maybe they're just like this, or maybe I'm expecting too much. We lower the bar because silence feels better than being alone. But here's the truth. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve people who ask how you're doing without prompting, who reply not just out of politeness, but out of real interest, who follow your thoughts and add their own, not just because they feel obligated, but because they want to continue the thread. I've had those moments, rare but real, where a conversation flows so naturally it feels like dancing. No overthinking, no doubt. Just mutual understanding, curiosity, and rhythm. Those moments are golden, and they remind me of what's possible. It's okay to seek those connections. It's okay to walk away from ones that leave you feeling hollow. We're not meant to be emotional batteries constantly recharging others without return. We're meant for relationships that energize us in return. The hard part is discerning who's just shy and who's just not showing up. You won't always get it right. Sometimes you'll walk away from someone who was just warming up. Other times, you'll stick around too long hoping they'll change. It's okay. We're all learning. But what matters is honoring your energy, protecting your peace, and remembering that your presence is a gift, not an obligation. Because when you stop carrying conversations that don't carry you, you make space for those who will. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moors October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.